It's Ryan.
It's Crystal.
And this is Razzberry Reviews. And I'm going to say it right now, spoilers.
Spoilers!
Click away now if you have not seen the movie. We just got back from Aquaman.
Holla.
So, we're going to try and stay as impartial as possible because I am a bit biased when it comes to Aquaman because I love the character. So, with that, without further ado, we're going to start off with the negatives. Get those out of the way as much as possible. So, there was a few for me, admittedly. So, the biggest, I think maybe the biggest thing, and it's not very strong, I would say, for an argument. But personally for me, there was a bit of a pacing issue. I felt at times there was a bit of rushedness and you know, it was just like at the beginning. The beginning kind of felt a bit rushed for me, but what kind of helped that not feel as rushed was some of the transitions that were used. I thought the transitions themselves were really good, but there was still this feeling of kind of rushedness. And the movie itself as a whole wasn't entirely consistent with the pacing. For the most part, the pacing was fine. The pacing was good. I loved the pacing in the movie. It felt natural for the most part. But there was times where it felt rushed, for me, personally. The other kind of negative I want to get out of the way was I felt was with Orm. In terms of, I think he's such a great villain that I kind of wanted to see a bit more out of him, a little bit. I thought Patrick Wilson's performance as the character was on point. I loved him as Ocean Master Orm. He was, I felt like a legitimate villain, but I kind of felt I wanted to see a little more of him, you know, a little more anger, kind of. I mean, he was angry plenty enough. But, like, his motivation with, you know, the surface has been polluting our oceans, killing our life, like the children of the ocean, which like the sea animals and all that. I thought his motivation was fine. It was good. It was believable. But I don't know why, but I kind of felt like I wanted to feel a little more disdain of why he hates the surface so much. I mean, somebody could argue like, I think he had enough, and I'd be fine with you if you said like, I think he had enough motivation. But for me, I just wanted to see a little more of that venom of why he hates the surface so much, in my opinion. Overall, though, I thought he was fine. Crystal, what were some of your...
I do agree with how the pacing of the movie went. I didn't notice too many things out of place in regards to it. I did want to mention, like, in regards to the costume change from when Arthur went to get the trident. If that was just the power of the trident just kind of coating his body in the armor, or if he took the armor from
King Atlan.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of get that. I honestly felt like the effect that was kind of going with the trident kind of felt like maybe the armor transcends since Atlan was like a true king of Atlantis, the very first king of Atlantis. Like his heir or like whoever's worthy of the trident, I would feel like would get the same armor as him. But I mean, that's a fair thing, I think. Because
sometimes the armor could be in regards to how, you know, the person is or how they fight. You know, some people like
it just seems that, like, if it was Atlan's armor, wow, it really surprisingly fits on Arthur. Kind of thing. I mean, that's fine, but I think, you know, but I just love how that costume looks on Jason. But, I mean, that's fair. What were some of your other, like, criticisms? Maybe as far as, maybe the experience of it. Like, as somebody who's not so familiar with Aquaman, how was your kind of experience with this?
In regards to the experience, I'm somewhat familiar. Like, I know some of the basic knowledge that comes with it. I feel like the movie was really good, especially Jason Momoa's performance as Aquaman.
We'll get to the characters.
We'll get there.
But as far as, like, negative... Is there anything negative about your experience at all?
I would say, on a side note, it has nothing to do with the movie, but I feel like it was heavily put out there too much. I felt like I was overhyped. When I went in, you know, I was like, okay, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to be so excited. I'm going to enjoy this with my husband. We're going to have so much fun reviewing. And then it was gone.
Okay, yeah, like, I mean, that's fair, because, like, there's so many movies out there, like, people have felt, like, overhyped, and then they went in, and then they felt disappointed. I mean, it happens. Especially if you, like, I mean, Sam and I have talked about maybe we shouldn't watch too many trailers and so much, because now it seems like the trailers give away a little bit. James Wan said, like, the trailers, like, don't touch the surface of the whole film, and I agree to that to a certain point, but, like, certain sequences in the film, like, I wasn't fully... Like, I don't feel like I mean, I would have been more pumped and excited if I hadn't seen that trailer.
Yeah.
But, I mean, then that happens. You take that risk, though, when you watch the trailer. So that's kind of like maybe my fault for maybe not that, but yeah. Maybe there is one other thing that kind of bothered me in the third act, how Arthur seemed to magically get into the... you know, from he was at the edge of the of the forgotten or hidden sea, and then he's suddenly at the third battle. But to be fair, if I'm gonna point that out, I have to point out the inconsistency of Avengers: Infinity War, where Thor just seems to magically know where Wakanda is in the third act. So I'm gonna say that my point with Arthur showing up out of nowhere, is null and void.
Well, and I felt like, as you stated, with how the trident is so powerful, it could kind of send out like its own power echo.
Maybe it was able to locate him. I mean, that's a kind of theory. Maybe we kind of talked about in the car.
Yeah.
That I felt like maybe maybe the trident just knows how to wait. Like somehow maybe Thor's hammer knew how to get to Wakanda. But yeah, I mean, I want to be consistent if I'm gonna cross the two
of course.
universes here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, any other negatives? No? Okay, let's get to the positives then, because there's a lot of positives to talk about. Yeah, the biggest positives for me, obviously, was one that was a lot of critics addressed, was the visuals of this movie. Mm-hmm. The visuals were so good. The trench looked great. The Atlantean, like the fish people, looked great. Mm-hmm. The costumes themselves were Oscar worthy. Like, and now that I've seen the movie and everybody's talking about how Aquaman did not get an Oscar nomination, I am now so kind of upset that it didn't, because if Suicide Squad can get a nomination and an Oscar award for their costumes, these guys need an Oscar for their costumes, because they were perfect. Aquaman's costume, Mara's costume, Orm's costume, every single character. Black Manta's costume was awesome! But yeah, it's like the costumes were perfect. Like, worthy of an Oscar, I think, in my opinion. So yeah, the visuals and what you really liked, the fighting choreography.
Yes, definitely the choreography throughout the film in different fight scenes. So like, the final fight and when he was training.
Yes, and when he fought Orm the first time in the battle of the Ring of Fire.
And then the second time, part of the final battle, the second part.
Yes, that was awesome, I think. The final fight itself, like I said, I know I wasn't fully in the audience. Kind of thing at the final act with the final battle with the sharks with the laser beams. I still loved that scene, but I felt like maybe if I hadn't seen the trailer, I would have been even more like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, and Crystal would have to keep me quiet in the theater.
Yes.
Kind of thing. But no, that scene was fantastic. I loved it. The fight scenes were on point. The action sequences, like when they were on land, when they were like chasing after him with Black Manta and the Atlantean Guard, that was a fantastic scene. But yeah, like choreography, costumes, visuals were perfect for me. Is there any other positives you kind of want to point out? Maybe like should we talk about the characters themselves?
I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I agree with like the visual effects within regards to the choreography. I thought how they were able to produce the world underwater was probably a big feat in itself.
Oh yeah, I'm tremendous.
I was interested in kind of figuring out how they did that.
Oh yeah.
Like how they were able to produce so much.
When some of the critics have said like it feels like Lord of the Rings or Star Wars, I totally agree, because it seems like it's a whole other world, and it's like
yes.
You make me so happy, James Wan.
Well, and especially when Aquaman first goes down to Atlantis, you know, it's
And
just
sees
like
everything.
it looks like a Stark, you know, and then Mara's like, well, your eyes will adjust, which they did, and then it was like,
yeah.
know.
Well, I mean, he can see in the dark.
Yeah, yeah.
And all that. I love the fact that James Wan embraced so much of Aquaman's like history and all that, and like he doesn't shy away. Like, so one of the big complaints people had, and which I think is a stupid complaint, was we saw Topo, who was playing the drums for like about 5 seconds, and people were criticizing that. It's like, really, get over yourself. Ant-Man did it too, so be quiet.
Well, I thought it was interesting to kind of
I thought
see
Topo was
him
great.
do like
It
the
was
drums,
a ceremonial thing.
Yeah.
When Ant-Man did it, it was for comedic relief. That wasn't for comedic relief. So I think people just need to get over it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I seem a little bit rude or a little bit triggered by that, but I agree. I simply just don't agree with that. I thought Topo was cool.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, there's just so many good things about that. So let's focus on the characters themselves. Like I said, Patrick Wilson's Orm was good. I liked him. I wanted even though I wanted a little bit more of him, there were things about him that I really liked. I liked that, and coincide with Jason Momoa's Arthur Curry. I love Jason's performance in this. I love him as this carefree kind of Arthur Curry Aquaman. It was a unique, different take of the character that I'm used to from reading, but I loved it. It was great. But as far as the relationship between Arthur and Orm was one thing I was kind of concerned about going in, but when they got to that part where they meet for the very first time, it's not automatically I want to kill you, because like Orm's like before he even meets Arthur, he's saying like he's just a half breed. I want him, like I wanted to kill him, and then when he sees him, it's like now that you're here, I feel conflicted.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he's got that brotherly bond, and even when they're getting ready to fight in the Ring of Fire, the fact that he's telling him is like, I don't want to kill you, Arthur. So I'm going to give you this one chance. Leave now, and all that. Like, he doesn't want to kill him. And Arthur saying, like, because Arthur wanted to kill him. It feels like before they meet, I felt like Arthur really did want to just like kill Orm and Atlantis for what they did to his mother. But even then, he's like, I dreamt of meeting my little brother. Tell him that he's like not alone. But I can't let you, do this kind of thing. And like the relationship between them, I felt was genuine and kind of the relationship I wanted a little bit. So I would say it met that kind of.
Yeah.
It got rid of that fear a bit, and even at the end too, as well.
Yeah.
So, any relationships that you kind of liked?
I did kind of like the banter between Aquaman and Mara.
Yes.
Definitely the kind of carefree yet serious.
Yes, Amber Heard's Mara is awesome. Speaking of Amber Heard's Mara, I thought the visual effects with her powers were perfect. Like, if the last Airbender could have done the water bending as nearly as good as what Mara's powers were, I would have loved that movie, and I would have thought it wasn't as bad.
Yeah.
But it was good. You nailed it. You nailed Mara's powers.
Yes.
I thought Mara's character overall was good. She definitely felt, and I'm sorry for the pun, and also not sorry, a fish out of water. Because, like, she ate the rose.
Oh, gosh.
And that I thought was funny. But what's even better was Arthur's like, and he eats the rose petals too. It's like, oh, that's so cute. Them together was like, it was just so good. And I felt that it was believable. They had a really good chemistry between the two. And I can kind of see, like, some people, I saw some negatives say that the relationship kind of felt forced. If I look hard enough, I can kind of feel that maybe. But at the same time, it's like, some relationships are like that. And like sometimes with you and me when we're not on screen.
Yeah.
It's a lot like that. And it felt genuine. And I loved it for that. So, anything else positive as far as character-wise?
Well, you probably covered most of it.
Okay, there are two other characters I would like to talk about. And then maybe we can move on to, I guess, maybe the Twitter stuff. Because we've covered a lot. And there's a lot in this movie that I'm definitely going to go see again. But the other two characters I really liked. I liked William Dafoe as Volko.
Yes.
Volko was awesome. The mentorship there was great. I kind of want to wish I got to see like Arthur meeting Volko for the first time, maybe. But I was fine with just boom, right into it.
Or like how he was convinced to go train him.
Yeah, like how Arthur, met him and, felt like, oh, I can trust this kind of guy. And maybe it would have slowed the movie down a bit. So maybe that's why kind of they didn't add that. Or maybe they deleted it. I don't know. But then there's Black Manta.
Oh my goodness.
Black Manta was amazing. Yaha does a great performance as the character. The motivation. I'm glad that Arthur doesn't actually physically kill his father. Yeah. I was fine with that because in the comic books he actually did, but there really wasn't a reason for him to actually physically kill him. But he left him for dead, and then of course Arthur later on was he kind of regretted what he did because now he made an enemy and now Mera was in danger because of it. Mm-hmm. But his motivation for wanting to kill Aquaman was right on point. Like, it felt like it was right out of the comic for me. Yeah. And I loved Yaha's performance, and I can't. And we hear reportedly we're gonna get an Aquaman sequel. I want Black Manta as the main villain. I want that so badly, and I think we will get that because if you stick around, you'll see a really good, I'd say, end credit scene for that.
Yes.
So, and then wait. I guess there is one more character. Two maybe. Thomas Curry and Atlanta. Jango Fett as Arthur's dad. I love their relationship, especially in the bar scene and all that. And then Queen Atlanta was awesome. I thought Nicole Kidman as her was great casting, and we got to see her kick butt, and that scene was awesome in the opening. Yeah. So, but yeah, well developed characters for the most part. I thought the story itself was really, really good as well. And I felt the emotion. Like, I teared up at several points of the movie. But yeah, I don't want to go talking everything about it because I want you guys to go see it. So we're going to cut off everything there. Au contraire, mon frere, future us have a little more to add. Favorite parts and some other things I'd like to add. So we'll make it quick. Crystal, what was your favorite parts of the movie?
My favorite parts were two fight scenes between Orm and Aquaman. The first one was the final battle, of course. And then the second one was in the Ring of Fire.
So you mean as far as your favorite?
Yes.
Because that happened out of order the way you put it.
Yeah, it did.
So your favorite scene was the final fight between Orm and Arthur. Yes. Your second favorite was their first fight in the Ring of Fire.
Yes.
Okay, there we go. Those are also my favorites. Another favorite of mine was seeing Arthur be in the Aquaman costume coming out of the waterfall. But I think as far as pretty much my favorite scene of the entire movie would be the fact that I saw Arthur meet his mom, because as far as I know, in any comic books history of Aquaman, he never got to meet his mother. Yeah. As far as I know. Feel free to correct me in the comments if you want, but it's just seeing him get to actually meet his mother, like, that was one of the parts where I cried a bit, teared up for that, because it's like, oh my gosh, he actually got to meet his mother. Yeah. He never got that chance. And I felt, and that's one of the things that made Aquaman tragic as a comic book character, was he never got to meet his mother. Yeah. So, but yeah, the other things I kind of want to mention, the music in this movie, the musical score was awesome. I've now seen this movie twice, as you've probably noticed the costume change. The music gave me chills. There were a few songs that weren't made by the composer for the score of the movie, but like the Pitbull song, I didn't really care for it. I mean, I was fine with it, but I'm like, I would have been okay if it was a different song or wasn't even in there, in my opinion. Because I know some people loved it, and I definitely know some people hated it. But yeah, I thought it was okay. But the music overall was it's up there, I think, with Man of Steel a little bit. But Man of Steel, honestly, I feel like that musical score is a bit better, in my opinion. Yeah. But yeah. Then lastly, to end this up, so my past self can get to the tweets. This movie was really important for me because I really love Aquaman. I've loved Aquaman since even Super Friends, even though he was made to be a joke and made as a joke because of the Super Friends cartoon. But I've honestly loved the character then. I loved him in the Justice League animated series that they had. I thought, and then when Aquaman was one of the very first physical comic books I ever got, when I started, to brave enough to start getting into physical comic books and not just digital comic books. But Aquaman was the first one I picked up. And I think he's a phenomenal character. He's one of those characters in DC that I feel like is a little bit easier to connect with.
Yeah.
Because, there's different cultures.
Yeah.
And especially with Jason's portrayal, like the whole thing that they made Aquaman Polynesian. I think if they were going to put any diversity into Aquaman, not just make him a white, blonde guy, I think Polynesian was the right way to go.
I agree.
I'm so glad that Jason has that background, so he could bring that to the character.
I did enjoy the fact that, they did it differently than just the normal blonde
They just didn't make it like straight out of the comic book kind of thing.
No, and it was kind of nice. It was kind of a definitely different feel to it, instead of it being quote whitewashed.
Yeah, whitewashed. Yeah. I'm just glad that Jason has that background and that culture, and they put that culture into the character as well. Because there was times where he would do, I'm gonna mess up. I think some certain words, when, at the end, like that. I'm not gonna try to attempt it because I feel like I'll butcher it terribly. But yeah, I love that diversity in it. I thought it made Aquaman even more interesting than he already was. But the character is easy for me to connect with. Besides, I love the sea. I love he is from two different worlds, and I just feel like for a general audience member, for general audiences in general, I think it just is a little bit easier to connect with, versus Superman, who is an alien with all these superpowers, and Batman, who's insanely rich in the top 1%, and Wonder Woman being basically a god. But I mean, you can make an argument that Aquaman maybe isn't as connectable. But for me, he is. I can connect with the character, even though I'm not Atlantean, obviously. As an Aquaman fan, this movie made me very proud because, again, Aquaman has been ridiculed for so many years, but he's an amazing character, and I know it. And I know people out on Twitter who know how great of a character he is. And seeing him and Mera and pretty much all the Aquaman characters that we have, and we're gonna get more, I think, in the sequel. But I just think Aquaman's a phenomenal character, and Jason knocked it out of the park.
Oh, definitely.
So with that, we'll now let my past self take care of the rest. And at some point, I am gonna mention that I'm cutting out AP Batman's tweet, but I found one other tweet, and I am putting it in because I think AP Batman deserves it. So, but yeah. Take it away, past me. So now we're going to go to the tweets. So we're going to start off with some of the people who messaged me.
Yep.
Christian, our faithful follower of our channel. Christian sent this message, and there's quite a bit to say. As a fan of Aquaman for many years, I had extremely high expectations for this solo film, and James Wan delivered in every way possible. I know it has been said to have influences from different movies, such as Lord of the Rings, Avatar, Star Wars, and Indiana Jones, but the mixture of these films feels entirely fresh and new to me. The visual effects was outstanding. You, Academy, I know what he means by that. I'm sure you do as well. The story was funny, engaging, and emotional. The action sequences were incredible, as that third act battle was something I will never forget. What I love most about this movie is the rewatch factor. I can see myself having as much fun for the 10th time as I see this. Sorry, I'm reading it wrong. For the 10th time, I see this as I did the first. Now, on to the characters. Jason Momoa knocked it out of the park. He embraced this role and really gave us more than the typical big, dumb, brawny superhero. He showed range of emotions that I wasn't expecting. I may or may not have felt my eyes watering up when he saw Atlanta Alive. I also did as well. He was funny, charismatic, and relatable. Amber Heard as Mara was the MVP of the movie that I knew she would be. Intelligent, powerful, and compassionate. Mara was the complete package. My only complaint is that I wanted more of her during that gigantic third act battle. I can agree with that. What she did show gave me goosebumps. Mara is truly an A minus, or no, sorry. My gosh, I'm so sorry. Mara is truly an A-list superhero heroine, and you don't sideline your big gun, but I understand why she went and tried to and get her father to stand down. She has a big heart and would rather have not seen any more people get hurt. I truly hope this is the first step in an even more successful career for Amber. Black Manta is my favorite DCEU villain. Same as everyone else. I wanted more of him, but I can see how he can be utilized further in future movies. He was an enemy who was filled with hatred and looking for vengeance. I was legitimately afraid that Manta would be too much of an obstacle to overcome for Arthur. King Orm was an interesting choice as the main protagonist. I think you mean antagonist. Sorry. I understood his desire to protect his people from the surface world. I was happy he wasn't killed off as villains usually are in superhero movies. Looking forward to what his next chapter will be. Nicole Kidman's Queen Atlanta was a regal and not to be trifled with, as I expected. Merc, Volko, King Nereus, and the fisherman people made interesting contributions. The trench are downright terrifying, with James Wan's horror background standing tall here. Julia Andrews' Catherine was absolutely incredible. I do hope we are getting a trilogy with this director and background players returning to continue the adventure of Mara, Aquaman, and the rest of the incredible cast. P.S. Crystal rocks.
Thank you.
I am so sorry I flubbed up so much of reading of that. That was a lot, and it pained me not to get to read it before until we watched the movie.
Yeah.
But, Christian, yeah, there were a lot of points I teared up as well. There's really not much else to add what he said, and that was pretty well on point.
Thank you, Christian.
So, thank you, Christian, for sending that message in, and I feel with how long that is, I might have to cut a few other people out, like Brooklyn Batman. I'm sorry, I might have to cut yours out, but I will say this, Brooklyn Batman, I kind of talked with him a little bit. He really enjoyed this movie. He thought Jason was amazing. He thought Amber was amazing. You know, some of that. I want to get him in there because he's also kind of a faithful watcher as well. But, yeah, let's go now with some of the other messages that I got. We got one from Echo, and after all the flubbing I did, I'm going to let you read it.
Okay, so Echo said, saw the movie today and can't put it into proper words how awesome this movie is. Aquaman solidified himself as the king of the seven seas in the DCEU. James Wan has a hit here. Hopefully the US is as into it as the rest of the world. This movie deserves a $1 billion status. Round 2, 3, and 4 coming tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday.
All right, Echo, I'm really glad that you enjoyed the movie. I'm glad you'll be seeing it more than once. I am definitely going to see it at least one more time this weekend. So, yeah, I can't wait to see it again. Because, yeah, I'm really glad you liked it. And I really think I think it has the potential to be a $1 billion movie because it's already around like $300 million overseas alone. So now that it's finally out here in the U.S., I think it'll get that push.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely agree with you there, Echo. Now there's another one I got just not too long ago. Let me find. This one is from my friend at the Meatball 84. He says, "I was personally disappointed, but it definitely is a gorgeous movie." And maybe like I don't know. Maybe I'll talk to him more to elaborate of why he kind of felt disappointed in it. Maybe he kind of felt like maybe how you were. Maybe it was too overhyped.
Yeah.
Possibly. I don't know. I'm not gonna put words in his mouth. But I mean, I'm sorry that he was disappointed in it. But at least he's acknowledging that it's a gorgeous film, and at least he's not obviously being biased about why he doesn't like the movie, such as too much water. That's a terrible excuse. You should not use that as a critique. So, but no, I'm Brandon. I'm sorry that you were disappointed by the film, but I hope that you got at some enjoyment at least, and I'm glad you thought it was a gorgeous movie because I do agree with that statement. I think there is one more message that we have left, and then I think we're gonna call it a quits. I'll acknowledge some other people that I did talk about. This last one is going to be from Jade Russo. Would you like to take it away?
Sure. Jade said, my thoughts about Aquaman is that I enjoyed it. I didn't realize how great Mara would be, but I totally want to see more of her in the future. I didn't understand who that doctor was and why he was listening to himself during the end credit scene or why he involved himself with that Manta guy. But overall, I am a fan of this movie. I laughed so much with Mara and her eating the rose scene. I love the Arthur and Mara pairing since they are so cute together. When I grow up, I want to be a queen like Atlanta. Sorry for my mispronunciation.
It's okay.
A loving mom who could fight like that. Yeah, that's what I want. Have a good day.
After Barry Credits team.
Yes.
Thank you for using the hashtag. That makes me happy. Jade, I think you can be as cool as Queen Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
I may have never met you, but I'm going to say it automatically because, and that's maybe a bit biased, but because the fact you took the time to reply to us. Yes, thank you very much. So I can kind of help her a little bit with Dr. Shin. So Dr. Shin, in the comic books, and maybe she's read it, I don't know. But anyway, Dr. Shin is a guy who's obsessed with proving that Atlantis is real in the comic books. One thing they did differently from the New 52 anyway, Dr. Shin was actually a mentor to Arthur when developing his telepathy powers. When he was being able to communicate with fish, that's what he was kind of involved with. So seeing him at the end credits, I'm glad that we saw him in there. Dr. Shin, I feel like, is an important character in the Aquaman mythos because of his obsession with Atlantis. He wants that credibility and all that. I'm kind of sad that he didn't get to interact with Arthur much, but maybe in the sequel, maybe that's what they're going to go for.
Maybe.
But I'm definitely wouldn't mind seeing more of Dr. Shin. So I hope that kind of helps with the explanation. But yeah, that was one of our favorite scenes, the eating of the rose. With that, oh wait, looks like we might have another message. A late message into the game. Never mind. It was a message from Mara. She said that she was glad that I loved the movie. So even though she didn't say anything particularly to us, Mara is a good viewer of our videos as well, and I want to say we kind of talked about it, the way she talked about her reaction to the movie. She really enjoyed it. So Mara, thank you for even taking the time to reply back to say that you're glad that we enjoyed the movie as well. And thank you for your continued support. And now, as we're closing and we're getting ready for final verdicts, I just want to take a quick moment to say thank you to everyone who messaged us, replied to us. Thank you to Brooklyn Batman and Ocean Rage M for talking me through all these months as we were getting so hyped up for Aquaman. I really appreciate talking to you guys. And there's plenty of others as well that I'm sorry if I don't mention your name, but thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate all your support. And now, with that being said, let us get into final verdicts. Crystal, I will let you have the honor of going first.
All right. Well, I'm not sure if my review would qualify, but I would say I would give it...
It qualifies. You have an opinion.
4.75 out of 5.
You have to round it up or round it down. It's either got to be 4.5.
I knew it.
Sorry. I can't put a visual of a 4.75 raspberry on the screen.
Technically, you can.
No, I can't. I'm not going to try.
All right.
Because Sam was the one who made that icon, and I don't know. And he told me no is who. So.
Okay, 4.5 then.
4.5.
Yeah.
Okay. You're good with that?
Yes.
No other backup reasons for that reasoning? Okay.
Nope, we pretty much stated it earlier.
I think we did too. But yeah, my rating is actually also going to be 4.5. I feel like that is the most comfortable score I can give it.
Yeah.
And there's so many things great about this movie. I really recommend that you at least go see it in a theater at least once. I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, the story, the emotions of it, I have to go see this again. So with that being said, that leaves our score to a total of 9.
Yep,
9 out of 10. And that's a lot of, like, you know, Brooklyn Batman gave it a 4 out of 5. Sharks. I saw that tweet up there. But yeah, no, I love the movie, and I want to go see it again. This was a fantastic film. It lived up to my expectations. But yeah, I highly recommend you go see it. With that being said, we are kind of tired and from all the excitement, so I'm going to hopefully get this out before the end of the year.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more Raspberry reviews. If you like the video, click like. Make sure to subscribe if you like our content.
Yep.
Follow us on Twitter. Like us on Facebook. Feel free to talk to me about this movie through Twitter or Facebook. I don't care how. We'd love to hear from you. If you didn't get a chance to get some of your thoughts in, I would love to hear from you. So thank you again to everyone who continues to support us, to watch these videos all the way through. I thank you very much. So yeah, with that said, have a good night and go see Aquaman.
Bye.
Bye.